Time for us to head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. And this caller wants to talk about Baker Mayfield and the weapons that he has.
What I want to bring up is for Kevin. He needs weapons. Baker had weapons. All pros, Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, and Odell. He had everything he needed. We keep making excuses. Why do we keep making excuses for him? If he's not doing it, he's not doing it. Odell is in the Super Bowl. We're not. And we're sitting here. And we're making excuses. He was open. The video showed that he was open. Okay, receivers drop balls. So please tell me. Aaron Rodgers throws to Devontae Adams. Tom Brady threw to Mike Evans, even in double coverage. Throw to your number one. Enough with the plays over players. No. Go to your number one player. And he won it out. He got out, and now he's in the Super Bowl. Got to make you think, don't it?
Yeah, I get where he's going with that. But if you look at the Browns receiving core and you look at any of the other receiving cores that were in the playoffs, they're not close. Odell didn't want to be here. Jarvis Landry was playing on 1.5 legs.
Oh, really?
You're going to disagree with that one too?
I think he was happy to be here. Now, he wasn't happy after he didn't get the football a lot. So at that point, it's becoming a business decision. His career was getting, I wouldn't say trash, but he wasn't really getting a chance to show what he could do. And I don't think he's the receiver that he used to be, Dave, but I still think he's better than anybody that the Browns had on their roster all season long. So at wide receiver. So I if he was disgruntled and wanting to get out, okay. But he wasn't used very well here, either by the offensive coordinator, who is the head coach, basically, or the quarterback. So I have a really hard time pointing fingers of blame at Odell on this.
Scheme or quarterback then?
Well, now that's a good question. And I don't know the answer to that. I would think it's quarterback more than scheme, but maybe the scheme didn't put the quarterback and the receiver on the same page. The bottom line, and I hate to look back on it, so I'm going to look forward. What my thought is okay, if it didn't work with Odell, why is it going to work with the next more skilled wide receiver you bring in here? Why would it work then? And I don't know the answer to that, and that scares me a little bit.
Does that lead you to believe something has to change schematically?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, either schematically or your quarterback. Maybe your quarterback needs to get more on the same page with the guy. I have a hard time blaming the guy who doesn't have the ball. And that would be Odell, or that would be Jarvis, or that would be Donovan Peoples-Jones. I thought it was interesting that once Odell left and Baker started throwing to Donovan Peoples-Jones as more of his number one wide receiver, because remember, Jarvis was out for a while. And I looked it up. I don't remember the exact stats, but the completion percentage to Donovan Peoples-Jones while Odell was on the roster was something like 70% of the passes that Baker threw his way were completed. And after Odell left and Donovan Peoples-Jones was in theory the number one option, that completion percentage dropped to like 50 or 45%. So it made me think he's not either giving his first option enough of a chance to get open, or he's bailing on it too soon, or he's not trusting himself or something. But that made me think quarterback and maybe a little scheme.
Fair enough.
Because you can look it up.
Yeah.
With targets and completions, the completion percentage to DPJ was terrible after Odell left.
Yeah, and the thing is, he was kind of forced into a role he probably wasn't ready for, being the main focus, the main receiver. That's a guy that was a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, but somebody's going to have to be. So what's going to be the difference in that guy and in this offense next year? I hope the answer is Odell was a terrible fit here and it was all his fault because he's the only thing that's not still here. I don't think that's the case.